Okay. So now that everybody are back, let's see how we could solve this exercise. So it's a possible solution. We need to define a, let me run it. And yeah. We need to define a display size, and like here we define the background color in a way to be kind of blue. And we have these rectangles, each one with a fill size, and some of them we use like simple rectangle command, and some of them with fill rectangle, but you could use them in any way that you are comfortable with, as long as you draw something and you use your creativity. Okay, so now it's time to talk about variables. Variables are containers for things, and they hold something inside. They're like boxes. So they have a name here. We defined age as 23. So the name of this variable is age, and the value is 23. And they also have types. So there are different types like strings, floats. So here we have, like, if it's a whole number, it's an integer, and it could be negative or positive. So like here we have some examples of integers like -2, -98. 0 is also an integer, and we have like positive numbers as well. So if they're not a whole number, they have decimal points. Like after the decimal point, we have some values. It would be a float. And these float numbers could also be negative or positive. The other type of variables are strings. Actually, a string is a fancy name for letters. Like when we have letters, like each one is a character, but when we have them between quotations, we can have single quotation or double quotation. They would be strings. Here we use double quotes. So here, ignite between quotation is a string. Again, U of C, 4th Street, everything between quotation would be considered as a string. So here we have an example. We can use the variable that we defined, the value of the variable that we defined like this. So here we define height as 10 is an integer. It is not between quotations, and it's a whole number, doesn't have any values after decimal point. And when we print it, it's going to print our value. Let's try it. Okay. Okay. So we are defining our height with the value of 10, and we're going to print it. Let's see what would be the result. So You see the 10 has been printed here. Okay, now we have our quick question number 2. It has also 10 ignite point. What type of value are we assessing to today? So what is it? We're gonna have a poll again for your answers. Okay, so we have the result now. So it is a string, as I told you, something that is between quotation is always a string. So it's right that it has decimal point and values after that, but it's not a float because it is between quotation. So remember, everything between quotation would be considered as a string. Okay. And now we have exercise number 2. We're gonna go to breakout rooms and work on this exercise. The first thing you need to do is to type or copy and paste this part of code into your notebook. So it's gonna draw these shapes for you. Then you need to move them, both of them, 50 pixels to the right and 50 pixels down. So what is the least number of lines? You need to change it. And which snowman was easier to move. So now you go to breakout room and work on this exercise. Okay, so now that everybody are back, let's see the solution to this exercise. So it's this is the part that you had already, drawing the first two snowmen. So to move them, we just need to move the center of the circles. So if, and we were supposed to move them 50 pixel right and 50 pixel down. So we define d of x with 50 and d of y as 50, and we add it to this circle centers. So when we run this code, we can see that, yeah, it's drawing this second set of snowman, moved 50 pixel down and 50 pixel to the right. Okay. So let's talk about operators. The operators that we have are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. Like these four, we already all know what they are. For modulus is like it gives us the remainder of dividing two numbers. So 5 divided by 2 would be 2, and the remainder would be 1. In coding, in lots of places, we need to use modulus. So quick question number 3. How can we define parameters x and y so a circle defined with these will stay at the top left corner of the screen for any diameter d? So you have the poll. You can select the correct answer and submit it. Okay, so I see 51% chose the correct answer. So it's the second option. So let's try it and see how it works. If we want to have a circle with x, y, and d, and keep it in the left top corner. So we need to, like, and for any d, like we can consider it as 100, we need x equal d divided by 2 and y the same. So it's gonna plot a circle in the top left corner. So we can change the value. So let's have a background red. Okay, so we can change this value and the circle still stays over there. So the second option was the correct option. So we have some special variables. We can use these two variables, mouse X and mouse Y, to access the position of our mouse's X and Y coordinates. So we don't assign a value to them, but we use our mouse to choose the position. So here, see, if we do this, by moving our mouse, we're gonna have this rectangle at different positions. Let's do this in our notebook. So we define the display size, and then we are okay. We are drawing a rectangle with a background of gray, and the shape would be blue. Let's run it. So it's at the beginning, it's at the top left corner, but moving our mouse, we can change the position because the rectangle would be drawn at the position of our mouse. Okay. Now we have exercises for blockbusters and Pythonic lava groups. Each exercise has 50 Ignite points, and you will be submitting them later, but you have time to work on them in your breakout room. So yeah, you need to do like this exercise. You draw a rectangle, and by moving the mouse, the color would be changing, and you also need to draw this. And for Pythonic lava, we have this. You need to draw these here circles, but by moving the color is changing, and here same thing with the rectangle. And yeah, we have this just for fun. They don't have any Ignite points, but you can try to work on them. You can go to your breakout rooms and start working. Okay, so there's some final points. You can still work on your exercises, and your submissions are due a week after your session. So if you're in the blockbusters group, you can submit your exercise here, and if you're in Pythonic Lava, you can submit them here. You need to submit a program which is a .ipynb code, uh, and yeah, you can, if you need to check the rules and details, you can find them here. You all have access to these slides and you can find the links. Okay, thank you everybody for today. Have a good day.